Now imagine that there's a river stream and you're just floating down this river stream. However, imagine that you're trying to grab onto branches and grab onto other things and trying to attach to it. And imagine that if you were to just let go of all of that and go with the flow, that the river would take you exactly where you need to go. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm gonna be showing you the power of detachment, how this can be like magic in your life, and why the root of all suffering is attachment. This was something that Buddha said, or at least Buddha was quoted as saying, and it's true. The more attached we become to different things in our life, the more pain we create. So the key is understanding that the more we detach, the more free we become. And I'm gonna share with you some things from my own life that I've noticed through this process and how it can change your life and become very magical. So first off, the thing I wanna share with you is there was this quote that I heard as well. It came from Deepak Chopra. And it had to do, I'm not gonna read the exact quote, but the general idea is that inside of certainty is the prison of our own thoughts, and certainty is also attachment. We become attached to people, we become attached to our thoughts, we become attached to our own labels, and in that attachment is certainty. Outside of that certainty is uncertainty, and uncertainty is where infinite possibilities are. So in a way, we hold ourselves through attachment to different ideologies. Maybe it's a certain person. Imagine that there are 7.5 billion people out there in the world. And imagine that you are attached to one person. And it has to work right with one person. And you, inside of this little belief system, are like, it needs to work out, it needs to work out, it needs to work out. And I'm attached and they need to act this way and then I can be happy. But imagine that you are actually possibly limiting yourself. Imagine that there are billions of people out there, and there's a high likelihood that if you have such a deep connection with this one person, there's a high likelihood that there could be someone else out there that you have even a deeper connection with. That is just an example of this, but that's many times what we do. We may be holding on to certain perspectives that keep us in certainty. And the Deepak Chopra quote was about uncertainty, and uncertainty in the unknown is where infinite possibility is. It is where freedom is. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the magic of detachment, how you tap into it, and how things really become magical when we get out of the prison of our own beliefs, the prison of our own attachment. And anytime, think about it, anytime we attach to our own thoughts, that's where pain starts to come from. That's where then we start to get in this little negative thought loop. There was something I was thinking about the other day and I just kept thinking about it. The more I thought about it, the more it grew. And the more attached to it I was. And the more then I would go out into the world and see other things that reflected that back to me. But the moment I caught myself and the moment I became detached from it, and think about it, when you become detached, you then are able to separate yourself from being inside of it. You can then observe it in a new way. And when you observe it in a new way, that's where power is. So let's go ahead and get into this. Attachment's another way of control. So first off, there's different ways we become attached in general. We can become attached by our thoughts. We can become attached to people and how people act. We can become attached to outcome. This is something I've definitely been attached to in my life, is I've been attached to pretty much all of these. I'm sure we all have. But beliefs, another one, attached to certain beliefs. This is the way reality is. Labels, I am somebody with ADHD. This is who I am. It's also kind of tied into identity as well. Let me get some of my notes here. I wanted to make this video a little bit more in detail, understanding this whole process and really how it works and what we become attached to. So a lot of what we become attached to in general is we have this attachment because we like certainty. When we have certainty, we feel safe. But many times what happened is we became safe and we decided this is very, very important to become safe, and then we drained out the magic of life. We drained out allowing the universe to show us infinite possibility. And I believe that uncertainty is where boring is. It's where boring is. It's where everything's the same over and over and over again. And the more we allow ourselves to change that, the easier it is. Now, I realized this also when I was working that 9-to-5 job. I remember specifically outcome. I was working that 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes at Barney's, New York. There were days I would go into work and I'd be very focused on a certain outcome. I would say, okay, my goal is to sell. It was a commission-based job. I got paid like 5 or 6% commission on whatever I sold. And the idea is that if I sell like $5,000, that's like $300 something. It's like, okay, that's a good day. So I'd go in some days, I'd be like, okay, my outcome is I want to sell this amount. And when I went in and I was helping people, and I was then attached to people and how they responded to me in the hopes that they would buy something, because if they would buy something, I would then have my outcome. The more I would try to control all of these different aspects, and the more attached I was to the outcome, the more resistant I would get. Because the more attached I was also saying I wasn't trusting the process. If I was helping somebody, I was like, okay, this person needs to buy because I only have a couple of extra hours of my shift left and I need to hit my goal. And then I would be attached to the outcome and it would create this resistance around everything. And then what would happen is those customers would feel that resistance from me and then they wouldn't buy. But let me share with you something. There is a magic to detachment. There were days I would go into work completely detached from the outcome, still with the intention. This doesn't mean detachment is like we're just aloof and we just have no direction whatsoever. Still have intention. It's like I intend to help people today. I intend to have this outcome, but I'm not attached to it having to happen. My happiness, my internal state of being is not attached to the outside. That's really what attachment is too. We have the inner world, and when we're attached, we are in a way trying to control. We are like grabbing the universe by the throat. This is the throat of the universe. We are grabbing the universe by the throat and we're saying it better work out like this. We're trying to control the outside and attach to it rather than detaching from it emotionally and energetically. But if we were to detach from it, we would then become more free. So that sales commission job, and every day I went in, I started at zero. So it was like new every single day. So the cool thing about that is it was like a law of attraction playground. I got to see what worked and what didn't work because every day I started new. And I'll tell you, the most magical days were the days I was the most detached from outcome and from how people acted. I would just have fun. I would focus on an intention of the vision, but it was mainly focused on detachment from outcome, having fun, trusting the process. That's when magic would really begin to happen. And imagine this works with relationships as well. I remember when I first got into one of my last relationships, when I was in a relationship with the amazing Lior. And when we first started dating, I remember I was really trying to control. I was attached to the outcome, super attached to the outcome. I was like, I hope it works out. I really hope it works out. And it was like the beginning. Now, I never felt like that before also. I never had that perspective, but I never had a soulful connection with someone before. But I remember the beginning of our relationship, even though we were in different cities, she was in LA and I was in Vegas, I'd be thinking, I hope everything goes well. I hope then she went to like travel to Europe with one of her best friends. And I was worried. I was like, I hope that, everything's still going well, even though we're so far away and we can't talk as much. We're in different time zones and stuff. The more attached to it I was, the more resistant I felt. And then the more resistant she felt. Because energetically, we also have, let's get a little esoteric here. We have energetic cords from person to person. We all have energetic cords that when we think about someone, we're sending them energy and it's vice versa. Now what happens is when we're attached, we're trying to control. We are in a way rigidly controlling that energetic cord. And then that causes resistance. So if you're trying to attract love into your life, the more you think about this person and the more you feel resistance because they're not acting the way you want, the more you resist them and the more they feel that because energy is contagious. So there's a magic though to detachment because detachment is also it is unconditional love. And many times you'll feel even more of that love. Lior and I were in a relationship for about a year. We're still very, very good friends. And we have this deep, deep love for each other even though we're not together. And the moment that it changed, because we were starting to feel resistance in our relationship, we were traveling the world like you guys may have saw. We were in Costa Rica, we were in Tulum. The more we tried to control and we had an expectation, an attachment to an expectation of each other, the more resistance and in a little bit of a box we felt. We felt like we were in a prison of our own beliefs, a prison of our expectations of each other. But then what we realized was that if we can let go of these expectations and let go of these labels and this identity of even being together, we then felt free. We even felt closer than ever. And it was a magical type of thing. Now, it doesn't mean that we're back together. Doesn't mean, there wasn't a non-happy ending. It was a very happy ending. We both are still amazing friends, and we will be for our whole lives. However, the reason I share that is there's a magic and an unconditional love that happens when you're not attached to how love has to be, when you're not attached to different thoughts, and even your internal world. The time you feel suffering in your internal world is when you feel attached to your thoughts. Because when you feel attached to your thoughts, many times you start to identify with your thoughts. You start to say, this is who I am. And one of the biggest cons in life is that we believe we are our thoughts. We think thoughts, but we are not our thoughts, but we think we are. That causes pain. That causes suffering. But the more that we can become free of our thoughts by observing them and not emotionally being attached or identified with it, the more free we will become, the more free we will feel from this. So another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is something that you've probably heard me talk about before, but I really want to wire this in. Now, first off, magic happens when you do this, because when you get into the unknown, when you get into uncertainty, that's where things can really begin to happen. Imagine we have this box like that prison I was showing you, and there's a certain way we think, we feel, and act. And when we do those things over and over and over again, we become very comfortable with it. And then we do those things over and over again, and many times we become attached to it because it becomes safe. But when we step into the unknown, this is where then we can experience, you can't experience anything new in this little box, because all that you're going to experience is more of what you know. More of what you know. However, if you step into what you don't know, this is where then the mind can't try to just jump to the easiest thing. The mind can't jump to what's familiar, because there's nothing familiar. We're in a new environment. If you go to the same gym every day, you're like, okay, I'm going to work out right here. Okay, now I'm going to go to that machine over there. I do this every Wednesday. And then what happens if you go to a completely new gym, maybe some type of, like they have this place in Vegas you go where it's like different type of yoga boot camp stuff and all this other stuff in different rooms and all these little dumbbells and stuff that you use. Your mind would go in there and be like, this is new. I don't know. Where's my machine? Where's my machine? I want my back machine. I want the back machine. I don't see no back machine. And then it's like, whoa, but here's the thing. You're not going to stay in that little comfort zone, and you're going to get into the unknown. And then guess what? By branching out and deciding to do something like that, you may meet the love of your life right there next to you doing the little boot camp, little dumbbell thing. And you're like, whoa, that's not a back machine. But I like you. Now we got no relationship, and now we love forever. See, that's the magic of detachment. But here's the thing with love. Little pedestal. Look at that. We're on a pedestal. Oh, look, we're at the same level. Now imagine you make something very, very important. What we then do is we put it on a pedestal. It's up here. We say, look at you. Look at you up there. You're so beautiful. Oh my God, if this would work out, I'd feel so good. And the moment we put something on a pedestal and we make it very important is the moment we create resistance. Importance equals resistance. And importance many times also equals attachment. And I'll tell you right now, anytime I make something important, I get slapped on my hand. It goes, Aaron, no. I was like, there's been times I'm like, I'm looking at a house. I'm like, I really want this house. I really want this house. I start feeling resistance. I start really thinking about it. I get in my own head about it. And then things will kind of fall apart. It's the universe going, Aaron, no. Just relax. It's okay. We got this. Okay, that's what happens. And then if there's someone like, so when you start dating someone, you're like, oh my God, you're on a pedestal, you're so amazing, you're so amazing, you're so amazing. So like, why am I feeling this resistance from this person? I like this person, I want to like them, but I feel this resistance. And the universe goes on your hand and goes, Aaron, no. And I go, okay. Detach. That's the key. It's detachment. It's detachment and becoming free. Become free. You wanna know, here's something else that I was attached to for a long time. I'm gonna share this with you. I don't know if I can share this story yet. Intermittent fasting. You guys get the minute fasting, okay? Intermittent fasting. For a long time, for 2 years, I was doing this thing. I would not eat till 3 p.m. every day, and I would stop eating at like 4:30 p.m. I'd eat in like a 1.5 hour window, all my food for the day. I would like eat a huge meal, and it was really cool, and I enjoyed that. However, I realized that if I went to the gym at 12 p.m., I would then have a really crappy workout. I was starting to have really crappy workouts. I'm like, why is this happening? I don't get it. But then what happened is I was talking to one of mine and Victor's friend. Victor's my best friend, and then this guy that we know is a real cool guy. He's like a bodybuilder. He really understands, how the body works and all this stuff. And I was talking to him, and I became aware, and I had this rigid belief that I couldn't eat until 3 o'clock every day. Then what happened is I became aware that actually what I need to do to gain weight and to gain muscle, which is what I want to do, is I have to extend my eating window a little bit. Intermittent fasting is within an 8-hour window, but for some weird, crazy reason, I was attached to this 1.5 hour window in my mind. I was attached to this identity, this perspective. I am an intermittent faster. This is who I am. Plus, it was attached to that belief. You wanna know what happened? I realized that in order for me to get my goals, I actually have to let that go. I have to detach from that perspective. When I detached from that perspective, guess what? I felt so much release and freedom, because I'm like, wait, you mean you could tell me that after I make my YouTube video, what I just make it right now, I can go over there and make this really cool shake with a little bit of vegan protein powder, with a little bit of fruit, with a little bit of spinach, with a little bit of this vegan yogurt, and I can drink that, and then go to the gym an hour later and have all this energy to work out and feel amazing and not feel so fatigued. This is a brand new world, but I was attached. So detaching, you feel free. I'm like, whoa, maybe intermittent fasting mainly works because I believed in it so much. You can say, well, science shows that it does work. Well, maybe the science shows that it does work, attracts the people that really believe in the science, and then therefore that's their belief system, so then they become attached to the belief, and that becomes their reality. Maybe there's many, many, many different ways of going about this whole weight thing and this whole diet thing, or, food nutrition thing. You see, but the key and the magic of this is becoming free. Become free of these perspectives. And when you become emotionally free, that's where the magic begins to happen. That's where you feel like anything can happen. If you imagine you have this chain with you and you're lugging around this weight, and imagine that chain and that weight, this ball and chain, is what remains from your past. And if you take and you're attached to your past, you're lugging that everywhere you go. And your past is also the certainty, the past conditioning that makes you feel familiar. You may be attached to certain relationships you had, certain people you had, certain thoughts you have, thinking those are who you are. That's your identity. And when you realize that you can cut that ball and chain. You got these little ball and chain cutters. Imagine it was a ball and chain, but it's not. You thought it was a chain, but actually, it was like a piece of dental floss. You could just cut that dental floss so easily and just be free. And be free. And the key is the realization that you are not your thoughts, that you do not need anyone else in your life to make you happy. You generate your happiness from within. You do not need the outcome to turn out a certain way. You do not need to be attached to certain beliefs, labels, or identity. It is a false premise that we've been sold. It is a false premise that we believed, and we have to take responsibility for it. And when we change that, we change everything. So the key to everything I'm sharing with you today is to let go. That's it. Let go and be free. Step into the unknown. Challenge, become aware of the story you tell yourself. The story about how reality works. The story that you have to remain attached to the outcome. The story that the people you meet, you have to be a certain way. There's a story around all of these things. And when you let go of that story and you detach from it, you become free. And when you become free, you become empowered. When I became free of that belief that I had to do intermittent fasting within a 1.5 hour window, I felt like there's a whole
new world where I can eat whatever I want, and I can have a shake in the morning. and feel good.
Okay? It's a whole new world. And you would have a whole new world. If you're attached to a breakup that you went through, then you're gonna feel resistance in this little box. But if you just let go, and you realize the truth that there's like billions of people out there, and that if you had this deep connection with this person, then there's a likelihood that you could have even a deeper connection with someone else. And then you learned a lot from that relationship, and that now you know that there's something out there even better for you. And that's the magic of this video. So many times in my life, I let go and magic happens. Even my own YouTube stats, when I'm intending to grow my channel, the more I want it to go a certain way, the more resistance I feel. But the more I'm cool, the more I'm cool and I just have fun. You guys can feel that. Remember, you guys probably seen me do that analogy before. Please, please like this video. Like this video, please. I'm really attached to what you do and how you react to me and what you think about me. And you feel that resistance, you go, bro, you want to be like the universe to me and go, hey, Aaron, stop it, stop it. And I go, okay, I'll stop it. But then I go all suave and cool. Part of my natural self-image, like, hey, beautiful, would you mind just liking this video if you liked it? If you did, that would be really cool. And then you feel that and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I like the video. Boop. You see what I mean? Different energy. But anytime we're attached, we're trying to control, we're running around, we're trying to make things happen, we're going down this beautiful river, and this beautiful river is taking us exactly where we need to go, but we're trying to grab onto branches, we're trying to grab onto things, we've got like the oar, and we're like just trying to like viciously go this. It's like, dude, the current is taking you where you need to go. Just chill out and relax, bro. Don't be attached. Don't try to control. Just be. And the more you let go and you become free of trying to control, the more you let go, you become free of your thoughts, the people trying to have them act a certain way, the outcomes, the beliefs, labels, identity, the more free you will actually be. This is the key to really becoming the kind of person that you want to be. So there is a meditation I have for letting go of the outcome. You can check it out by clicking the top of the description box. You'll see a one there. Listen to that. It'll help you let go, be free of your past identity, and be free of outcome as well. It's very powerful. Read the comments as soon as possible. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace, much love, and namaste.